Prepare yourself for all new explosive information that you will experience in the upcoming powerhouse documentary from Shabazz Productions, Brother Malcolm X, Diamond Among Men.
So being young and being ignorant in the Nation of Islam and being dumb as well, I went along with what was going on. They were saying Minister Malcolm was this, Minister Malcolm was that, he's a hypocrite, and Minister Malcolm was a hypocrite. And I've said some bad things about Minister Malcolm and didn't even know Minister Malcolm. New York couldn't handle the deed of getting rid of Minister Malcolm. So they brought in number 25, which was Newark, which is a whole lot smaller than New York. In New York, you probably had 10 times the amount of Muslims in New York than you had in Newark. But Newark was the dirty worker. They would do the dirty work.
I'm not a gang member. I'm a former Nation of Islam member. And I'd like to say a few things on Malcolm X's behalf, who's no longer with us and can't speak for himself.
These guys was high profile.
Okay.
And if they had attempted to go into the Audubon Ballroom to get Malcolm, that they would have been spotted from the door.
Right away, right. Who was with Wallace? Not willingly, he went kicking and screaming, but then he said, you know, I'm not with this no more, and he said he's gonna build the old Nation of Islam back, right?
Over time, realized that there was a lot of irony and a lot of truth in things that Malcolm was saying.
These brothers were geniuses because they learned the lessons in a rhythmic fashion. Minister Malcolm always said this, and he meant this when he always said this. He was talking about Clarence 13X. He said the strength of the Nation of Islam is in the streets.
Let me say this to all you authors and scholars and people who claim to be experts on Brother Malcolm. I met some people in Brother Malcolm's organization, like Sister Khadijah Muhammad, who was very serious. If she heard the nonsense that you're saying about Brother Malcolm right now in 2021, she would take a pistol and blow your fucking brains out.
Easily one of the most hard-hitting, factual-based films ever put together about Brother Malcolm. A visit to the gravesite of one of the most infamous killers of all time, Malcolm's shotgun assassin.
At the end of the day, there was going to be some divine intervention. You were not to touch that. Go right on home. Be good boys and girls.
And that's why, that's one of the many reasons why I'm attracted to Malcolm X as an example, as a paradigm, as a man, as a brother, and as a human. I'm attracted to the fact that he was on this trajectory towards truth. I think that his downfall came directly from the Nation of Islam itself. I believe that they turned on him.
Minister Malcolm never made an excuse for anything, because there's no excuse. If you make an excuse or utilize a certain situation or circumstances for an excuse of your failures, you're saying you're less than who you are.
The true story about a young black man named George Luckett, who joined the Nation of Islam with high hopes and aspirations, only to get an early glimpse into the Nation of Islam's darkest side, saturated with corruption, where his favorite minister, named Harry X, would be murdered in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, because he didn't want to sell drugs in his neighborhood.
The so-called Negro today is what the white society has made him. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is doing a tremendous job of cleaning us up. He has done what the church has failed to do.
We went in with Minister Harry to go to Minister Jeremiah's house because Minister Jeremiah wanted the brothers in Philadelphia to come into Harrisburg and train us and teach us how to sell drugs to the community, to the black community. Minister Harry wasn't going for that. Minister Harry was a very brilliant young man, a hard teaching brother. He was fair, stern, but fair.
He said that he believed that those who recruited him to the assassination team, they knew that about him. you know, that he was the type of person that would stand up, you know, if needed to be. And he stood up. He stood up, he committed the assassination, and he expressed that. He later came to regret his role.
First of all, my experience with the Nation of Islam was with heroin. Brothers from Philadelphia came here to Harrisburg with dope.
The Nation of Islam had a defense department, but I never saw the defense department ever go into action. I was always waiting, you know, to get out there and rumble with people oppressing us. There was never a call for us to get out there and fight for our liberation, to free ourselves from bondage, from oppression. I was constantly waiting on that call that never came. I mean, they had a protocol directing us to be as militant as we possibly could. I was militant. I was overflowing with militancy. They had a protocol directing us to be militant. The recruitment mechanism, the attractiveness to the fruit of Islam is that you saw the propensity for them to want to fight. But it never happened. You saw the uniforms, you saw the polished boots, you saw the militancy, but nothing ever happened.
Malcolm taught me to defend myself. And I think that Malcolm caused me to push myself further to the ultimate, to excellence. Malcolm achieved excellence in what he did, and he achieved it. And this is what he pushed for me. So in the martial arts, I strive to achieve excellence. I strive to achieve, even though I may have had injuries, whatever, and had to come back from the injuries, back injuries, neck injuries, I still train, I still, you know, continue to make myself stronger. Malcolm was someone who stressed for men to stand up and be men.
Malcolm never advocated violence. On the back of every membership card for Malcolm's Organization of Afro-American Unity were words clearly defining what self-defense was all about.
So I remember I drove at breakneck speed to get over there, running red lights, and I got there, parked and rushed up to the hotel room. And Yahya must have told him that I was a comedian, because when they opened the door, Muhammad was standing there and he started throwing punches.
Those in leadership positions in the Nation of Islam, were they deliberately throwing sucker punches to the rank and file followers? Was leadership faking militancy all along? Was it just one big joke to them? Did Black America get played like a violin?
They never called him a liar. See, I never read or wrote or heard they ever called him a liar. They called him a hypocrite.
You're right.
They called him a Benedict Arnold. They called him a turncoat. Heck, I heard them call him a coward. Some minister might say he was soft as cornflakes and milk.
Wow.
But they never called him a liar.
I tried to have more respect, you know, for his contrition, you know, his stated, you know, contrition that he feels bad about it. You know, he came to say that Malcolm, you know, used to say time will tell. And he thought at the time that Malcolm was wrong, but he said in weighing things in the balance, he's come to realize that Malcolm was right about a lot of things, you know, so, yeah, you know, as opposed to some other people who still strive to slander Malcolm, you know, and still strive to, you know, even though we're 55 years later, you know, they're still holding a grudge, you know, against basically a good man, you know. So I have a lot more respect for Talmadge Hayer, you know, than those who are still caught up in that cycle of blaming Malcolm for his own assassination.
They never acknowledge the fact, or they'll say Malcolm talked bad, he was talking greasy about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He never threatened, from everything that I've seen and heard, he never threatened. Not only did he not threaten the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he didn't threaten anybody.
It was anger management. That's what the Nation of Islam taught. They taught anger management. You don't win wars with scowls on your faces.
Some of the people are still in the Nation of Islam. they feel that the white man did it, right? Or the FBI did it, or CIA.
No, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be a nigga on a talk show, fully articulating how I'm oppressed, and you patting me on the back and inviting me back to the show next week so I can speak more about my oppression. I don't want to be remembered like that.
That's always bothered me, the fact that he didn't get credit for trying to reconcile. And he almost in every, especially early on, almost in every public utterance, you know, it was obvious that he didn't want any problem.
No,
he didn't want any problem. He said, I believe he said, had they left me alone, I never would have said anything.
Right.
And as a result of Islam, it forged him. The way a diamond is forged, it forged him into a diamond in the rough in this country, which is the rough for us. America for us right now is the rough. And he was a diamond, he came out of the rough. So yes, he's definitely a diamond among men.
How do you get acclimated to oppression that's like a virus pandemic where racism is actually a plandemic? Brother Malcolm X, Diamond Among Men. It's a checkup from the neck up. No appointments necessary. Just walk in. It's a complete clinic.